Okay, so every place has its stories, and the stories are ancient and old. So, like we said, God formed the first man here, all the way till almost 5,770 something years, which is where we're holding. It's been a long journey for the Jewish people, and the city has changed hands many, many times, and many empires. Right now, we're walking past the Midnightrabbi. There's a beautiful, the Tower of David. There's a beautiful museum here, which every different time period has different hosts and host exhibitions. And I've been here for light show, and they had old historic artifacts and every kind of thing you can imagine. Right now, what is it? I'm not sure.
Oh, it's Christchurch. Okay. The city in New Zealand named after that one. Yeah. So this is one of the first churches?
Midnightrabbi. No.
Are we in the Christian quarter?
No. But it does all blend into each other.
Christian Center, Swedish Christian.
Yeah, they're good customers.
Welcome to the old city.
Good business as you get here. You don't walk into the Jewish center yet. First, you walk into the Christian and Islamic.
Okay.
So I have a great story on this staircase with Jeff Palver. If anyone's heard of him, palver.com. We were raising money for a studio like you saw today, and he came and donated a very nice donation after 5 minutes of talking to him right here.
Who?
And took me into this museum. Jeff Palver, he's a famous guy on the internet.
You saw him today?
No, it was here about 7 years ago. Met here, and he donated on this spot. So I have fond memory of this place. And that helped us start a studio in Jerusalem, which has continued throughout Israel. This is right now the night spectacular. Okay, so you have to come and see for yourself what's going on here. But anyway, we're now walking up to the old city, the Jewish quarter. There's the Armenian quarter on the right.
Alright, so
this is the whole point. You have to understand how the old city is pretty much worked out. Obviously there's exceptions, but...
Which quarter are we in right now?
We are leaving the Arab-Christian quarters mixed up and heading into the Jewish quarter.
Oh, so this was the Christian quarter?
It was border on it. We didn't enter any of them. This is the entrance.
Okay, so now we are entering a Jewish quarter, the Jewish quarter.
Yeah.
Alright.
So the Jewish quarter...
And here are the first Jews we see.
Has a history in itself.
Okay.
We'll get back to the foundation of stone and the Islamic temple that now is there, and what was there in previous times, and all the history that went on when we get closer to that spot. Right now, while we're here in the outer part of the city, let's talk about the outer part of history. So, everyone knows, everyone comes to Jerusalem there, with their backpack. We actually got rid of us, but I remember coming here with my backpack, my long hair, my earring. And you're inspired, it's old school,
Yeah, an earring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Things have got modern a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
But, so I didn't really know where I was heading, but I knew that I had to head through the Jewish quarter into the old city. That's like a reference place for everybody, where everyone goes to come back to the old city and to make your way to the Kotel, which is what we're going to do. And we have to not take for granted, because it wasn't so long ago that this whole area was under Arab control. Yeah, after you all know the famous history of Israel, that the Jews were not allowed to be in the old city for a long period.
They weren't even allowed the Jewish quarter.
Yeah, they weren't even allowed the Jewish quarter. We won't get into the intricate, but really the complex history that went on.
Well, the Ottomans at least let the Jews exist.
The Jews were allowed to be here, and they were here for hundreds of years. We're going to see some of the old schools once we get more into the Jewish quarter. And you have to understand the city is divided amongst the major religions of the world. And there was somewhat some sort of peace. Obviously, whoever was ruling it, you had to pay tax to, and they weren't always so fair, unfortunately. But the Jews managed to somehow live, even though there was times of pogroms or poverty, and it was very hard. But the Jews lived in these buildings. What happened was the old, like you all know, heard of Meir Sharim, and the old community that lived here.
How old is that community?
A few hundred years, from the times of the students. of Vilna Gaon and the Baal Shem Tov, who was sent here to Israel to live in Jerusalem. And
So
they
Baal
lived in
Shem Tov
Tzfat.
actually formed.
He didn't himself. He never actually.
Mesharim?
He never made it to Israel, but his students made it to Israel, and that's why many of them are buried up north in Tiberia, by the Kinneret. So we'll see. There was old communities like the Orach Chaim HaKodesh. His shul was just on the right. We're coming up soon, and he's buried on the Mount of Olives. The Orach Chaim is one of the big Sfadi Rabbonim.
Oh, Chaim. And what about the
Chaim.
Baal Shem Tov? Where's he buried?
The Baal Shem Tov was buried in Europe. He never made it to Eretz Israel.
He was from Russia, right?
Yeah, which is a story in itself.
Or was he Ukrainian, like a particular
Yeah,
area?
it was buried in Mezhevish, but this house here was called the Heritage House. It's now changed hands. It's a former Heritage House. This is where I first stayed because I didn't know anything.
This is the Heritage House?
Yeah.
Wow,
So
look at this.
I needed somewhere to stay, and this is where I stayed. So.
Oh, I gotta take a picture of the Jewish quarter.
Yeah, where's the Jewish quarter?